so you can get back to doing what makes you happy.
This message funded by a grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
And good morning, Las Vegas. How's everybody doing out there today? It's St. Patty's Day, and I am part Irish. I got to fight the German off, but, that's okay. That means I can drink whiskey and beer at the same time. It's all good. Makes me the ultimate drinking machine. Not that I'll be doing any of that here at the KDAWN studios. You're on 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. By the way, got some ratings reports. I want to thank all of you guys for keeping us in the top 5, the top 10. It's awesome to see that. We do appreciate you tuning in for the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. We know, especially on Sunday mornings, man, you got a lot of entertainment choices, including sleeping. But you're listening to us, and that means the world to me and everyone associated with the show and everybody at the station. So we really do appreciate you tuning in to the Mark Hoke Show here on Sunday mornings. And, of course, don't forget, we've got those great podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com, and we are also streaming on the Odyssey app. So wherever you are on the planet or off, and I'm sure some of our fans are, a little bit space alienish. So you can check us out there if you want to listen to us on that terrific app. And of course, a lot of other great shows from 101.5 FM and from around the Odyssey universe. And of course, we're also streaming right now on YouTube and Facebook. And we certainly appreciate you tuning in there as well. And if you'd like to just hop into those chat boxes on there, of course, the Mark Hoke Show, either one of them, and say hi. We would love to get your questions, comments, anything. So if you have something you want to say, you think I'm full of it, or you think I'm awesome, let us know. That'd be great to hear from you on this Sunday morning, St. Patrick's Day, here in Las Vegas. Of course, we've got the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment for you. And hour number 2, we are very excited to welcome back to the show our good friend Brad Gilmore from Reality of Wrestling, one of the top independent promotions in the United States of America, of course, run by WWE Hall of Famer Booker T. And Brad's going to be joining us. Of course, they do the Hall of Fame podcast and radio show down there in Texas. So look forward to having Brad back on the show in hour number 2. So that'll be a lot of fun talking to Brad. And of course, they made some news this week on that little old show down there, talking about Booker T having a confrontation, sort of, kind of, maybe, we're not sure, with CM Punk. So we're going to talk to Brad about what's going on with Booker T and CM Punk as Brad joins us on the show in hour number 2. So look forward to having Brad on the show. Of course, also a great author, movie buff. So look forward to having Brad coming up here in a little bit. But another busy week in pro wrestling as the road to WrestleMania continues. That is heating up like crazy. A very sad injury to report as well. We'll get to that a little bit later on in the show. Many, many exciting and some kind of sad things going on in the world of the squared circle. We're going to get to it all for you as we barrel through the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN. So a wild week in WWE. The good, the bad, and boy, there was some ugly too. Yikes. But of course, kicking it off on Monday Night Raw, we had a big promo from Cody Rhodes being interviewed by Michael Cole. as he gets ready for the big WrestleMania weekend as he attempts to finish the story. Of course, he slapped The Rock Friday a week ago on SmackDown after The Rock was calling out his family and called Cody a mistake. Of course, he was born a little bit after the rest of the kids. So The Rock jumped on that. And Cody, in an interview with Michael Cole, kind of broke down and said he wouldn't be able to give the belt to his dad, but he would be able to give it to his mom. And it was going to be a huge moment. And Cody choked up. It was pretty emotional, to say the least. But a big interview from Cody Rhodes on there. But The Rock jumped on it later on SmackDown on Friday. Now, The Rock was doing a lot of jumping on Friday. But a big interview from Cody Rhodes. Some other stuff, of course, going on Monday Night Raw as well. Becky Lynch knocks off Liv Morgan and then is just getting into it with Rhea Ripley as that showdown is getting ready to take place at WrestleMania. Becky Lynch, as she prepares to take on the Eradicator at WrestleMania for the WWE Women's Championship. And boy, I'll tell you what a match that's going to be. Of course, it was the match of the year last year with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania, according to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And now it's going to be Becky and Rhea. Boy, I'll tell you what an awesome night that's going to be when those two collide out in Philadelphia. But Becky holds off Liv Morgan. Of course, Liv has still got her sights on Rhea. Of course, Rhea was the one that injured Liv a while ago, knocked her out of action. But for now, Becky, with her sights set on Rhea Ripley from Judgment Day, should be a pretty good confrontation as we lead up to that. And it's only a few weeks away, April 6th and 7th from Philadelphia. The gauntlet match. And boy, I'll tell you, this one stirred it up a little bit. A lot of people thought Chad Gable was going to be the guy, the former Olympian. Cut some great vignettes as they were getting ready to have this 6-man gauntlet match. But it ends up as Sami Zayn wins the match and takes out Chad Gable in the end to win it. And he will be the man to try to take out Gunther and end the Ring General's longest ever Intercontinental title reign. So the Ultimate Underdog gets to take on Gunther for the IC belt. Unfortunately, and we're gonna get to talk to Brad about this too, because apparently Booker T had a conversation with Sammy about this, because Sammy was a little disappointed in the crowd reaction. Of course, a lot of people were on Chad Gable's side for this when they wanted him to win this match. And Sammy was a little sad that he didn't quite get the pop he was and the fan reaction he was hoping for. But Sami Zayn is going to be heading to WrestleMania to try and wrestle that Intercontinental title away from Gunther as he wins that gauntlet match. So it'll be Zayn and Gunther as the Intercontinental title will be up for grabs out there in the city of brotherly love. Now we get to Friday Night SmackDown, and boy, oh boy, torn on this one, because there's, quite frankly, I gotta say, The Rock is an incredibly gifted dude. Came from nowhere. Now, obviously, his dad was Rocky Johnson, the Soul Man, and High Chief Peter Maivia, the grandfather, and so he did have an in the business. But the man really did come from nothing to reach this incredible pinnacle of his career that he's had with the acting, and now on the board of TKO, which means he's helping oversee WWE and UFC. Pretty amazing life for The Rock. And of course, one of the most celebrated celebrities in the world right now. No question about it. But the interjection of The Rock into this whole thing with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes has had some bumps in the road. And this one, a pretty phenomenal promo. You're not going to, the crowd was eating out of his hands. And, I saw some interesting reactions from everybody from, Vince Russo saying, with some expletives, that was an amazing promo. Ryan Alvarez, that's how you cut a promo. Some longtime industry veterans saying, that was an incredible promo. But here was a couple of drawbacks on this. Number one, this thing ran over 20 minutes. And it was funny. I mean, you're not gonna get me to say, oh, this wasn't good. No, I mean, The Rock is incredibly talented. And if you didn't see it, he came out and said, we're going to sing his song. He got a couple of guys out there, musicians, one's playing guitar and he's got another guy playing the harmonica. And, he's singing a song to Cody Rhodes and just tearing them apart. Ends it with a little line from a Moana. I mean, he nailed it. But then after the song's over, then he goes into another kind of a separate promo almost, saying how he's, going to Cody's mom and how he brought his own weight belt because if you don't know, Cody has his own a weight belt that he wears, a branded weight belt that he gives to somebody, usually a kid at at his matches. And he had his own branded weight belt and said, I'm going to, beat your son down with this. Blood's going to be on it. And I'm going to hand this to you. And kept going and going and going. And it was a pretty long promo that ended up, and there were profanities in it too, which was another touchy subject with a lot of people from WWE. But this thing ended up making everybody tighten their schedules because for another week he ran long. And you may be sitting out there saying, well, what's the big deal? He's a Rock. It ran long. So what? Well, the problem is that as you plan these shows out, everybody's given a certain amount of allotted time. And when someone goes long, everybody's got to cut stuff out of what they're doing. So you're all, and especially at the beginning of the show, you can make it up as you go along, but everybody has to slash out stuff that they're doing. So, it's a very precise operation when you're putting that TV show together. So now you got to cut 2 minutes here. Now you got to cut a minute there. Now you got to cut a couple minutes there. And it showed during that episode of SmackDown. Plus, they're not allowed to swear. Nobody is supposed to be swearing on this. It's a PG-13 show. And, so they're under very strict instructions. You're not swearing during promos on WWE programming. So a lot of people are like, well, how come he gets to do it? And, the response is, well, guess what? He's the number one. He's the boss. Number two, he's the Rock. It's, does the Rock get special privileges because of who he is? It's a tricky call. And, do you tell the Rock to not necessarily be the Rock? Do the rules apply to the boss? We just went through a situation with Vince McMahon, obviously a lot more serious than swearing on the air. But do the rules still apply? And if the rules don't apply to the boss, do you start opening that door again? Tricky position for WWE and how they're going to handle this, because he literally is, one of the guys in charge. But what certainly was entertaining, there's no doubt about it. But I think a lot of the reaction has been, could he have said what he said in 10 minutes instead of 20? Yes. I think there's another concern that he's starting to drown out a lot of the other superstars on the roster. Look, you've got a primetime player there. There's no question about it. The Rock is the man. The talent is phenomenal. There is no one in the world that is going to debate how the incredible ability of acting and the physicality and everything that The Rock brings to the table. But at the same time, do you want to push everybody else aside completely for Dwayne Johnson? And I think you got to be really careful about this. Where's Roman Reigns? Now, apparently he's going to be doing a face-to-face with Cody next week. But the man who has been the champion now for 3.5 years, who has carried this bloodline storyline for all this time, is nowhere to be found. He's had one little bit piece over the past few weeks, and that was getting The Rock to acknowledge him. And otherwise, he's just been sitting back in the background with Paul Heyman and Solo Sikoa. And hey, what's up? By the way, I'm the guy that's been holding on to the Universal Championship for 3.5 years. How you doing? And then you're starting to forget about everybody else on the card. Drew McIntyre is cutting great promos with Seth Rollins. And then, here you go, back on SmackDown, and it's 20 minutes of The Rock. Dwayne's got to watch this a little bit, because now everybody's going to be expecting more of The Rock. And what's next? Obviously, there's going to be a turn of one of these two guys. Either Roman's going to turn on The Rock or Rock's going to turn on Roman. So now you're going to get more of The Rock. Do you hide everybody else? And Cody's going to probably win the Universal Championship, I would think. So are you going to take your Universal Champion, the guy that's been chasing that title for 2 years, and bury him on the undercard? Sure looks like it. Boy, WWE has got a really tricky spot on their hands, and they had better watch what they're doing, because The Rock ain't going to be there forever. This guy at some point is going to get more acting roles. He's going to have more things to do. And, the people that got them there, they created one of the deepest rosters, especially at the top, in the history of this company. And they are taking them, and there's just a little baby shovel coming out. Just a little dig, some dirt flying up, and everybody's kind of getting up to their ankles right now, and they better watch it, or they're going to be chest deep here pretty soon. So we'll see how that turns out. And with that, let's take a break, shall we? We got a whole lot more coming up on the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. It is the Talk of Las Vegas, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. A little more on WWE, and then we get into AEW. The CEO is back. That's right. Mercedes Moné made her return. We got that and a whole lot more. Stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
In Nevada, anything that goes into the storm drain goes directly to our local waterways, which can pollute Nevada's lakes and rivers. Nevada is the driest state in the nation, and we must work together to preserve our limited water resources for future generations of Nevadans. Here's some waterway wisdom so you can help do your part. Scoop your dog's poop, bag it, and discard it. Clean up yard waste and grass clippings. Wash your car at a car wash or on grass or gravel. Apply pesticides and fertilizers sparingly in your yard. Safely dispose of household chemicals. Clean up leaks and spills. And don't litter. Secure trash in bins. Keep contaminants out of our storm drains. Use waterway wisdom. And remember, only rain should go into the storm drain. Join us in preserving Nevada's waters for future generations by visiting loveenvywaters.com and following us on social media.
This message funded by a grant through the Nevada Department of Transportation, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, Nevadans, prescriptions can be expensive. Let the Array RX discount card be your solution. Now available to all Nevada residents. Simply sign up for free, show your pharmacist your digital card, and save money. Receive discounts of up to 80% on certain medications. There are no age or income restrictions, and it only takes a minute to enroll. Visit ArrayRxCard.com to learn more and sign up today.
This message funded by a grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
My son stopped talking to me. He didn't want to leave his room.
I didn't feel like talking to anyone. I just wanted to be alone.
I was really worried about my daughter. She was angry all the time.
I felt so depressed.
I was really worried about my daughter.
I couldn't do anything right. I was always getting yelled at.
My son told me he wanted to hurt himself. I was so scared.
I was feeling hopeless. It was all too much.
We needed help.
We needed help.
We needed help.
We needed help.
I needed help.
I called the mobile crisis response team, and we met with them that same day.
A crisis team came to my house and helped me talk to my parents about how I was feeling.
I called the mobile crisis response team. They met with us that day.
I talked to them about how I was feeling, and it really helped.
Sometimes understanding what children are experiencing can be difficult. The Nevada Children's Mobile Crisis Response Team provides mental health intervention and support. Learn more at nocrisis.com.
This message sponsored by the FBI Las Vegas Citizens Academy Alumni Association, a nonprofit organization separate and apart from the FBI in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association.
The LGBTQ Center of Las Vegas provides a range of health and wellness services in a safe and non-judgmental environment. You can get fast and comprehensive HIV testing, as well as screening for STIs for little to no cost. Appointments are recommended, but walk-ins are welcome. Located in the heart of Las Vegas near downtown, the center also provides an on-site pharmacy. Get more information at thecenterlv.org. This message is sponsored by a grant through the Sands Corporation, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
1015 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
And we return to the Mark Hoke Show here on KDAWN 1015 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. It's been that way for a while. Talking since 1975. Yeah, I was around. Not here, but dancing around elementary school. What are you going to do? Very happy to have you with us. It's the best of pro wrestling news and entertainment. The road to WrestleMania continues and all sorts of crazy stuff going on elsewhere in the world of wrestling too. And we've got it all for you here on the Mark Hoke Show. Of course, we'll be welcoming in Brad Gilmore from Reality of Wrestling, Booker T's promotion down there in Texas. Very excited to have him back on the show. So get ready for Brad coming up in hour number 2. That should be a lot of fun. Well, I tell you, whenever Brad's on the show, it's lights out. And of course, the boss, Booker T, making a little news this week. So we'll get to talk to Brad about everything going on with Wewowie West Wing. Yeah, okay. It happens, guys. Sorry. It's St. Patrick's Day. There's no green beer in here, but God, I wish there was. Anyway, so just to kind of wrap up our WWE talk, Bayley got a hold of Dakota Kai. Of course, the two of them have a split from their damage control time. Ends up in a DQ, but Bayley is back to being our good Bayley. I can't call her Bad Bayley anymore. I was there when she turned into Bad Bayley right here in Las Vegas a couple of years ago. But Bayley is getting ready to try and win a championship and have her WrestleMania moment. So Deeker there. So we'll see how things turn out with Bayley. She gets ready to face off with Io Sky at WrestleMania. And speaking of that card, a couple other matches got put together this week. And let's run down where the WrestleMania card is for everybody at this point. Night 1, it is the Bloodline, The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in a tag team match. If Rhodes and Rollins win, then the Bloodline is barred from ringside during Rhodes' Universal Championship match against Reigns on night 2. If Reigns and Rock win, then it is Bloodline rules. Everything goes. So that is official night 1 match. Night 2 matches, Seth Rollins against Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. And of course, right now, The Rock has sworn that Seth Rollins is not leaving WrestleMania with that championship. He's not happy that Seth stuck his nose in the business. So we'll see if Drew McIntyre walks out with the title, or, of course, Damian Priest is still running around with his Money in the Bank briefcase. So Damian Priest of Judgment Day has got that chance to cash in for a title. We'll see if he does it. And of course, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship on night 2. The other matches that are booked at this point, not assigned to an evening as of yet. Io Sky defending the WWE Women's Championship against Bayley. Rhea Ripley defending the Women's World Championship against Becky Lynch. Gunther will be defending the WWE Intercontinental Championship against Sami Zayn. The Judgment Day apparently annoyed everybody, specifically Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce. They are now in a 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. Those other 5 teams yet to be determined. So they'll be having qualifying matches, I assume, to get those opponents for the Judgment Day in there. Not looking good for the Judgment Day to survive that. LA Knight takes on AJ Styles, and what should have been a pretty good match. A lot of people are excited about that, as we're hearing. So we'll see how that one goes. We've also got a new challenge thrown down. It's going to be Jimmy and Jey Uso facing off. So the brothers are going to duke it out. So we've had the Hardys, we've had the Harts, and now we get the Usos in a singles match at WrestleMania. Logan Paul will be defending his United States Championship in a triple threat against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Lord knows what's going to happen in that one. Randy and Kevin put together a nice little combo stunner RKO on Austin Theory this week. That worked out well. But you're waiting for the knife to go into the back of one or the other. It's going to happen, but that should be a fun match to watch as well. So those are currently the matches that are set up for WrestleMania. There'll be more to come, obviously, over the next couple of weeks as we get closer to WrestleMania. But that should be a very interesting. It'll be interesting to see where all these matches land. But this is going to be a Rock, Rhodes, Roman, Rollins dominated WrestleMania. R. By the way, and speaking of ours, Rippleman says in the chat box says, Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone, but don't drink too much or make The Rock mad. I'll make The Rock mad if I want to make The Rock mad. That's what I do. It's okay. I don't mind. Making The Rock mad is, I'll pay for it someday. I doubt he'll give me a rock bottom, but that's okay. That's all right. Let's call it like I see it, man. It's the way it is. I think The Rock's doing good. I'll say The Rock's doing well, but if he's doing something I don't like, I'm going to say it. I've called out everybody that on this show. That's what we do here on the Mark Hoke Show. Best in pro wrestling news and entertainment here on 101.5 FM. AEW had an interesting week as they had their big business edition of Dynamite this week, kicking it off with the former Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, who of course had that rather acrimonious walkout of WWE. Of course, her and Naomi were upset about how the women's tag team belts were being booked, and they left the belts on John Laurinaitis' desk and went their separate ways from WWE. Of course, she went on to do a lot of wrestling in Japan, but she is now in AEW. Did about a 10-minute promo to say hello to everybody in All Elite Wrestling. Wrapped up the show helping out Willow Nightingale, who she tangled with in Japan. But a big debut for Mercedes Moné. She is now known as the CEO. So, yeah, boss, CEO, close enough. But she is now All Elite. But she did make a little boo-boo as well. Before her debut, she made some comments on the Kick Rocks Wrestling podcast, where she said that she'll probably be someday back in WWE, which rubbed a very tight-knit AEW roster the wrong way. I don't know what she was thinking when she said that. You haven't even debuted yet, and you're saying you're going to be back with another company. Oy. Not the way to make friends and influence people. But a good start for Mercedes on her first night in AEW. So AEW big business, rolls out someone who I think is going to inject some incredible life into the AEW women's roster. Because now you got Toni Storm running around over there with her timeless gimmick, and Serena Deeb, Deonna Purrazzo, still waiting for Britt Baker to get back. And I'll tell you, when Britt gets back, that's going to be fun. That showdown should be something pretty special. And, we're hearing rumors about Saraya, if her health is still okay, but boy, that'll be fun to get Saraya and Mercedes in the ring together at some point. We also had some pretty interesting matches that came up this week. Samoa Joe took on Wardlow, and Joe beat him. So the guy that was supposed to be the one to hand Adam Cole the AEW World Championship goes down, at least in the first meeting here. So Samoa Joe stays the AEW World Champion. We had Katsuyori Shibata, of course, a guy who took a horrendous neck injury in Japan, taking on Bryan Danielson. Of course, both of those guys had terrible neck and concussion issues. They had an incredible match on Collision and pay-per-view level. But Danielson comes out on top on that, and that's what Danielson wanted to do and why he came to AEW. Wanted to wrestle everybody he possibly could in a style that he wanted to do. And another top-level match from Bryan Danielson. Kyle O'Reilly is also officially back in the ring, wrestles his first match back after he had neck fusion surgery. So big congratulations to Kyle O'Reilly, who's got to be feeling good after he finally made it back after a near 2-year absence. So way to go for him. The AEW Tag Team Tournament to fill the vacated championships. Of course, Darby Allin and Sting vacated those belts upon Sting's retirement after AEW Revolution got underway. One of the wild card matches, and boy, it was. Shawn Dean and Carly Bravo, the Infantry, in a wild card match, upset the House of Black. Are you kidding me? Mark Briscoe interferes in the match. He hasn't been real happy with them after what happened to him with that spike in the eye. And the Infantry moves on. Are you kidding me? So Mark Briscoe making his presence felt as the new AEW Tag Team Champions are going to be crowned soon. And that will be at the AEW pay-per-view coming up in April. So big win for Shawn Dean and Carly Bravo. Way to go, boys. Adam Copeland also made an introduction for everybody to his new friend, Spike. Yeah. He brought out a box last week with Spike on it. Well, now he showed what Spike was. And Christian Cage is probably not going to be real happy about it because it's a 2x4 loaded with giant nails sticking out of it. Dark looking thing. Doesn't seem very friendly. I don't think I want to get hit with Spike. I don't want my punch spiked. I don't want anything spiked by Spike. But Adam Copeland, I'm sure at some point we'll be using Spike on his old best friend, Christian Cage. So Spike is out there. But the saddest thing that happened on AEW this week, and if you go back and listen to our interview that we had with Darby Allin last month, Darby was getting ready to go climb Mount Everest. It was very exciting. He was going to be the first professional wrestler to climb Mount Everest. Well, he had a match with Jay White, and this was going to be kind of his go-away match. They were going to write him off TV for a while. And, of course, he gets his foot broken in the match. And I hate to say it, but it's not the easiest thing in the world to do, to climb Mount Everest with a broken foot. And unfortunately, Darby has to postpone his climb of Mount Everest because of this broken foot. And this was supposed to be his time off to go do that. So unfortunately, Darby Allin suspending his climb of Mount Everest because of a broken foot in the last match before he is headed out there. And we want to wish Darby a speedy recovery. He is a great guy. And we highly encourage you to go back and listen to that interview that we have with him. It is up on our YouTube channels and our podcast on markhokeshow.podbean.com. But very sad to hear that. I know how psyched he was to do that. And, that was something that he was very much looking forward to accomplishing. But Darby Allin with a broken foot, and he will not be climbing Mount Everest soon. But, hey, you know what? Maybe he'll get a little extra time off, get healed up, and go do it, and accomplish something that I know was very near and dear to him. But wow! So Darby Allin breaking his foot on this week's AEW programming, and he is out of the Mount Everest climb. So very tough break for Darby in more ways than one. And with that, we're going to take a break. As we come back with more here, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on the Mark Hoke Show. And once again, thank all of you for listening. We do appreciate it. And if you could, hey, take a second to subscribe to us on YouTube. That means the world to us as well. The Mark Hoke Show. And of course, like us on Facebook at the Mark Hoke Show. All that kind of stuff, means everything, man. It helps out a lot. Stick around. We got more coming up on the Mark Hoke Show, more news and notes, and we'll be right back.
The FBI is engaged in a nationwide effort to build public awareness of hate crimes and encourage reporting to law enforcement. Hate crimes include crimes committed on the basis of the victim's perceived or actual race, color, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability. Hate crimes are not only an attack on the victim, they are meant to threaten and intimidate an entire community. If you believe you are a victim or a witness of a hate crime, we encourage you to report it to the FBI by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI. Or submit a tip at tips.fbi.gov. You may remain anonymous. Again, report suspected hate crimes by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip at tips.fbi.gov. The FBI works to protect all victims of crimes, regardless of their country of national origin or immigration status. The FBI encourages victims and witnesses of any hate-related incident to report it to law enforcement. This message sponsored by the FBI Las Vegas Division, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
For 30 years, the LGBTQ Center of Nevada has been a safe and welcoming place to celebrate and serve the entire community. The center advocates for the empowerment and safety of everyone. It provides wellness services for better mental, physical, and holistic health. And the center connects people to the community. Learn more at thecenterlv.org. This message is sponsored by a grant through the Sands Corporation, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ready for your next vacation? Not so fast. Before you hit the road, remember these healthy habits to keep yourself and others safe and sanitary. Wash your hands after using the restroom, before eating and after blowing your nose. Sanitize airplane seats and tray tables. Sneeze or cough into a tissue or your elbow. And avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Lastly, make sure you're up to date on all your routine vaccines, including the COVID-19 vaccine. It's also important to get tested when necessary, such as if you develop COVID-19 symptoms before, during, or after travel. If you'll be traveling to visit someone who is at a higher risk of getting very sick from COVID-19, or if you're in a situation with a greater risk of exposure during travel. Pack these tips on your next adventure. And remember, travel safely, Nevadans. This message is sponsored by a CDC grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's not too late to protect yourself and your family from the flu. According to the latest report from the CDC, Clark County has witnessed over 244 influenza-related hospitalizations and 9 flu-related deaths. Meanwhile, Washoe County is seeing an average of 30 new cases reported per day. Be safe. Get your flu shot today. Contact your healthcare provider to learn more or visit immunizenevada.org. This message sponsored by Immunize Nevada, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're pregnant, and no matter what you do, no matter what you try, you can't stop using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco. But no matter how lost you are, how far along you are, it's not too late. There's always hope. And there are many safe places that can help you stop using. In Nevada, pregnant women are given the highest priority for substance use treatment. Low-cost treatment options may be available so you and your baby can get healthy now. If you or someone you love is pregnant or thinking about getting pregnant and using alcohol, drugs, or tobacco, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 to find help today. SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org also has resources for healthcare providers, friends, and family. If you want to help someone who's pregnant and using, visit SoberMomsHealthyBabies.org or call 211 today. Sponsored by the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
1015 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
Hey, let's get back to it, shall we? It's the best of pro wrestling news and entertainment here on The Mark Hoke Show. 101.5 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas. I am Mark Hoke. Thanks for joining us here on the show on St. Patrick's Day. That's right. Grab your pots of gold and your leprechauns, your Lucky Charms, whatever you need to grab, as long as it's Irish and makes you feel happy. It's all good. We're having a terrific time here. Of course, Brad Gilmore coming up here from Reality Wrestling, as we'll get to talk to him about everything going on in the world of pro wrestling and, of course, everything he's got going on down there with Booker T and the boys. It should be a great time. It's always a blast having Brad on the show. Look forward to talking to him in just a little bit. So stick around for hour number 2 of the Mark Hoke Show, wherever you're listening to us, whether it is on the dial at 101.5 FM, the Odyssey app, or if you are streaming us. And you know what, if you happen to, wherever you happen to listen to us, just go to the Mark Hoke Show on YouTube or Facebook and hop in that chat box. We would love to get your comments, your thoughts, questions. You know, there's all sorts of great topics you can bring up. And, you know, with it being WrestleMania season, you know, there's, you know, who knows what's on your mind. So we'd love to hear from you and, you know, get to interact with you on the show. So take a second and do that. We would certainly appreciate it. Be fantastic to hear from all of our fans of the show. And apparently there's a lot of you out there. We really do appreciate the great ratings numbers we've seen coming in. And, you know, we are the top live show here on KDAWN. And we certainly do appreciate you tuning in to listening to us. It means everything to us. All right. So some other news that has hit in pro wrestling. Speaking of Booker T. So apparently on March 12th, the NXT taping, Booker T is saying on his Hall of Fame podcast and radio show, he had some sort of confrontation with CM Punk. And now this has turned into, it wasn't much. We'll talk about it off. It said we'd talk about it off the air, and it's no big deal. You guys are making a mountain out of a molehill on this. Well, that's part of the reason Brad's coming on the show. Let's see if we can pry out of Brad on this. But Booker T is, has been somewhat critical of Punk over the years. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what we can find out, if anything, about what happened at that NXT taping. As of course, Punk's been hanging around the Performance Center for WWE and trying to help all the younger talent out. Whether you love him or hate him, he is one thing that he really does try to do that was done for him was to pass knowledge down to the next generation. He's very well known for working with people like Harley Race and so on, reveres those guys and wants to help out the younger talent. And, so one thing that he's hoping to do when the time comes is to be able to work a lot with the younger people in pro wrestling. So be interesting to see if Brad's got any knowledge as to what happened there. So it'll be fun to talk to Brad about that. But the Booker T making a little news on that one. We said we also apparently had a discussion with Sami Zayn on a plane about what happened with his win. Now, Sammy was a little disappointed about the fan reaction to him winning. Of course, Chad Gable, a lot of people thought the fans wanted Chad to win that match and kind of took Sammy off guard on that. So we'll see what he thinks. WWE also managed to open up a hornet's nest by putting Brock Lesnar back on the active roster page. For those that have been living under a rock, not that rock, like a literal rock. Of course, Lesnar, while not named, was in the Janelle Grant lawsuit as part of the sex trafficking and sexual harassment suit. Lesnar was supposed to be the one that was going to be taking on Gunther at WrestleMania, but because of him being put into this situation, was pulled. He was supposed to be in the Royal Rumble, not there. Well, they put him back on the active page, and rumors started that they were trying to maybe have him make a comeback, but according to many sources, that ain't happening. The lawyers have said no, no, no. And in case you were thinking about it, no Brock Lesnar. So Brock Lesnar not coming back. But why would you put him on the active page? That just makes no sense. There was no reason to even start those questions up. But for some reason, WWE put him on the active roster. Don't know why, but there you go. Also, a little promo with Candice LeRae against Maxine Dupree, who, of course, Maxine, very new. She was in the developmental program, brought in pretty raw. And she had been taking some flack from quite a few fans, being fairly insulting. And there were some people that were taking the fans' side and some were taking her side. They shouldn't have been so rough on her. But Candice LeRae brought up her dead brother in a promo. And, of course, her brother died tragically in a car accident because of a condition. He couldn't drive, and he was in a lift. And the lift driver made a really dumb move and ended up getting them both killed in a car crash. And many people backstage and out in the audience found this to be, well, shall we say, quite tasteless. And WWE caught some flack for that one. So if you want to check that promo out, feel free to do so. But that may not have been the best move, bringing up a dead brother that was tragically killed in a promo. So we'll let you make the decision on that one. Another decision that had been made last year and apparently is going to happen again is that WWE is going to run another card in Saudi Arabia over Memorial Day weekend. That's right, kids. They want us to suffer again on AEW Double or Nothing weekend. So last year, WWE threw one together that we had to go Saturday morning and then Sunday afternoon, back-to-back days with everything else that's going on. Of course, Double or Nothing is pretty much settled to be here in Las Vegas coming up. And it made that weekend ridiculous. Because if you don't know, it's not just usually when there's a pay-per-view in a city, it's not just the pay-per-view. Everyone does promotions around. A lot of the indies come into town, book around it. Any indies that are working here in the city are obviously setting up cards all over the place too. So it's a very hectic weekend. And now WWE has decided, hey, you know what? There's no other weekend we could possibly do this. So we're going to put together another pay-per-view on Memorial Day weekend overseas, just so you all have to get up at 5 or 6 in the morning and watch that too. So thanks, WWE. Really appreciate it. We in the media love you to death on that. Thanks. But it'll be another busy Memorial Day weekend for all of us here in Las Vegas. And maybe we'll get Brad Gilmore out here to Las Vegas. Maybe Reality Wrestling will come out here too, just to make it even more exciting. That'd be great. But we would love to have Reality Wrestling back here in Las Vegas. It was awesome the last time we were here. And we're going to have Brad Gilmore on the show here in just a little bit. So in hour number 2, it's Brad Gilmore from Reality Wrestling on the Mark Hoke Show. So stick around, everybody. We got a whole lot more. One more hour of the Mark Hoke Show. It's the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. And don't forget to follow the show at Mark Hoke Show on X / Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And of course, the Mark Hoke Show on Facebook, where we're streaming the Mark Hoke Show on YouTube, markhokeshow.com, just wherever you want to find us. It's not hard. Markhoke. That's how you spell it. That's how you do it. So stick around, everybody. We got a whole lot more with one of my favorite guests of all time, Brad Gilmore. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show, and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
That's the sound of Carl's Jr.'s all-beef patties being charbroiled. That's the sound of crispy bacon. That's the sound of pepper jack cheese melting over top. Yes, that makes a sound. And boom, that's the slightly weird sound of barbecue sauce squirting out of a bottle. And that's fire. Fire that just shot out of my mouth from the jalapenos, lighting my curtains on fire. Get a spicy Western bacon cheeseburger, a regular Western bacon cheeseburger, or a famous star, all for just $5 each through the My Rewards app. Need burger? Get burger. The fire department is here. My Rewards members only. Tax not included. See app for terms.
Spring training is here, and the free Odyssey app has everything you need to get ready for opening day. In-depth team coverage from the biggest sports radio stations across the country, exclusive interviews with players, managers, and MLB insiders, and podcasts dedicated to your favorite team. Listen live to the latest breaking news from around the league, or choose from a list of topics and listen on demand. It's all on the free Odyssey app. Download it today. AUDACY.
If you live in Clark County, you are at risk of developing non-smoking lung cancer. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that gets into homes and increases one's risk of lung cancer, and it exists here in Clark County. Radon is colorless and odorless, so the only way you know if your radon level is elevated in your home or office is by testing. To get your free test kit, visit our website with a new interactive map to find a pickup location nearest you at www.extension.unr.edu/radon. 21,000 people die of lung cancer each year, and Nevadans are at a higher risk. If an elevated level of radon is found, there are ways to reduce it and lower the risk of getting lung cancer. Get your free test kit today. Visit our website with a new interactive map to find a pickup location nearest you at www.extension.unr.edu/radon. Sponsored by the University of Nevada, Reno Extension's Radon Education Program, and aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Understanding the many things in a mother's life affecting her pregnancy is important. You can help improve the health of all mothers and babies in Nevada by completing a Pregnancy Risk Assessment Monitoring System survey about your recent pregnancy. Also known as PRAMS, the survey is from the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The survey asks new moms about their experience before, during, and after pregnancy. Responses are confidential and used to help improve the health of mothers and babies in Nevada. If you receive a PRAMS survey, please share your story. Learn more at nvprams.dpbh.nv.gov. That's nvprams.dpbh.nv.gov. This message sponsored by the Nevada Division of Public and Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
KMXB HD3 Henderson, K260HCS Las Vegas. Always live on the Odyssey app. 1015 FM KDAWN.
Yeah. A shooting in D.C. I'm Deborah Valentine, Fox News. A shooting at a recreational facility in Washington, D.C. early this morning has left 2 dead and 5 hurt. D.C. Metro Police Executive Assistant Chief is Jeffrey Carroll. He released a video providing an update on the incident.
At approximately 3 a.m. this morning, officers from the Metropolitan Police Department's 3rd District responded to the area of 7th and P Street Northwest for the report of a shooting. The initial information that we have at this time is a total of 7 people were shot at this location, 2 of which have since been pronounced deceased.
The suspect in the shooting out motive is at this time. Comments from former president and likely 2024 Republican Donald Trump rally in Ohio, drawing concern from President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris's re-election campaign.
Donald Trump barnstorming Ohio this weekend as he fights to get back into the White House. The former president vowing Saturday that there will be a, quote, bloodbath if he's not reelected in November. His comments came during a rally for Republican Senate candidate Bernie Moreno, who he's endorsing ahead of Ohio's primary. President Biden's campaign is condemning those remarks, saying Trump should, quote, not use threats of political violence.
The president's bloodshed comment related to the auto industry. That was Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer reporting. Multiple reports indicate independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. expected to tap California attorney and entrepreneur Nicole Shanahan as his running mate. Shanahan, a Democratic donor, was once married to Google's co-founder and funded Kennedy's pricey Super Bowl campaign commercial. Kennedy's campaign has declined to confirm that Kennedy's made a decision. He'll make the announcement official on March 26 in Oakland, California. America's listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
5 inches of rain by tomorrow.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Las Vegas. This is the Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Going bell to bell with the best in professional wrestling news, entertainment, and lots of Sin City surprises from inside the squared circle. Now, let's get to all the exciting pro wrestling action and bring on the host. Here is Mark Hoke.
Oh, yeah, let's do this. Another hour of the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment here on the Mark Hoke Show. Very excited to have you all joining us here. St. Patrick's Day, man. I didn't wear any green. At least I don't think I did. Oh, I'm thinking I'm Irish too. What am I doing, man? Getting up at 5 a.m. just doesn't work for me sometimes. I'm not thinking of that stuff. I'm just thinking pro wrestling. That's all I'm doing. I mean, I didn't even get like a green prime. I got the blue. I went all blue. God, my ancestors would be ashamed. But that's all right, because we're talking pro wrestling here on KDAWN 101.5 FM. It is the talk of Las Vegas, and we are going to have a great time this hour because I am so excited whenever I get this guy on the show. He is one of my favorites. The guy is doing it all, and I didn't even know that Brad Gilmore has a band. This is crazy. Brad Gilmore from, of course, the Hall of Fame podcast and radio show. That is out there in Houston on 97.5 and 92.5. And of course, out there on all of your favorite podcast outlets. Brad, is there anything you don't do?
Man, I try to keep myself busy. When I was a kid, my grandmother would say, those who are bored are just bored with themselves. So I'm trying to never have an opportunity to be bored.
Yeah, there's no doubt, dude. My God.
How you doing, Mark? You know what? Here's the thing. You're Irish. I'm Irish. I show love for my heritage. You show nothing for your heritage.
Well, see, I'm German and Irish. So
okay.
So what I have to do is I need to drink beer and whiskey.
You need to they should just sell them both in a can, you know what I mean, together, just for you.
Have you ever done one bourbon, one scotch, one beer, by the way?
So I don't drink. I've never had a drop of alcohol in my life, actually.
Really?
Really,
Wow.
yeah. So I am actually probably not doing my heritage well either. There's no Guinness flowing in the Gilmore household. But I will tell you, I actually talk about this all the time in Las Vegas. When I get to Las Vegas, it always reminds me of it. Las Vegas is the only place I've ever seen where you're walking through the casinos and they have the little machines there, or like the little stands that have all the drinks you can get and snacks in the hotel, where they sell you a bag of chips that should cost $2 for $10. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
They have the only place I've ever seen this where they have a Coca-Cola can with Jack Daniel's whiskey in the can.
Yeah.
And it's Cobra. I've never seen that anywhere else. I point it out every time I'm there because it blows my mind. It's like going somewhere and they're selling like a Red Bull, with Grey Goose already in it. Do you know what I mean? Like it makes sense, but why is it not being done nationwide? I don't know.
We've got to be efficient out here. We've got to. It's the only way to do it. Can't waste time. We cannot waste time. Yeah, you know that. You've been to Vegas enough. You know there's not much time to blow.
No, and I'll be there in a couple weeks. We're going to come out for the Thurman fight. Booker and I are, so I'm excited.
Oh my God, you are?
I'm going to be here. Yeah. We will get in. We'll do the radio show live from Radio Row and, enjoy the sights and scenes and the sounds of Sin City.
Man, we got to get you in the studio for one of the shows then.
Let's do it. I'm there. I'm going to be there. We'll talk. We'll make it happen.
Okay, let's get that figured out.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, because the last time I got to see you guys, everybody was wearing masks and we all looked stupid.
Oh, right. Yeah, that was COVID times, man. COVID times. Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
You know what I thought though? I thought the masks did some people a lot of good. Do you know what I mean? Like, think about it. Like, you don't want to shave. Maybe you're going through some dental surgery. Maybe you're not like the prettiest person in the world. You know what I mean? Like, you or I didn't have that problem, but some people, had that issue. Or they have, maybe they're facially challenged, and then they were able to cover up half of it. I'm sure they got swiped right a lot more on their favorite, dating apps and things of that nature. So I'm just saying, it wasn't all bad.
Yeah, I still see people wearing masks on their dating apps. I have questions.
Yeah. The mask in the car is the one I never understood. You know what I mean? Like, I got it. And here's the thing. Like, I understand the mask. I'm not judging anybody either way. But the mask in the car, I never understood. I never got it. Maybe they just forgot. Maybe they just forgot they had it on.
No, they didn't. You know that. You know that.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm glad that we're past that era. And I'm glad that we can, visit in person here shortly in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that'll be great. So yeah, you guys are definitely coming down to the Aussie studios. We're booking it. That's done.
Let's make it happen.
Done. Well, you guys are making news, and I wanted to kick this off with that right now. I've been hyping it the whole show. So to remind everybody what happened, that apparently on March 12th at the NXT tapings, Booker T said that there was some sort of confrontation with the Exalted One, CM Punk, and it's got mentioned on your show. What was this confrontation? Because it has turned some people thought it was a fight, and Booker was like, "This was nothing." What happened?
Okay, look, I can't. I wouldn't feel right telling somebody else's story, right? And Booker, we're going to be live on the air tomorrow, on the Hall of Fame on 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow to address this, obviously, because and Booker put it out on his Twitter account or his X account and said, it could have been over a banana. But here's the thing. Anybody who looks at the Hall of Fame or watches us or listens to us knows, like, Booker and I's dynamic is we like to laugh, joke, we rib one another, we play with one another. He says things that I guess because I've known him now for 12 years that I know when he's joking and I know when he's playing and I know when he's turning up a character. And I guess some people don't. This same exact thing happened with us, I don't know, 5 years ago, maybe. I don't know if you remember the whole Corey Graves, I'm a run up on him on Starbucks situation, but
yeah,
we had said something similar where Booker was like, "Oh, I'm gonna get Corey Graves. I'm gonna put my hands on him. I'm not gonna do it at the job, but if I see him at Starbucks, it's on," or whatever. obviously a joke. We played Macho Man Randy Savage Be a Man Hogan, which I actually have right behind me, framed. Shout out to Whitney Collectibles for that. But I had that, but we were playing that in the music when that was going on, and people took it seriously. USA Today did a story on it. Forbes did a story on it about the issues between Booker T and Corey Graves. And when I saw that clip go out on social media, I go, oh, that's funny. Like, some people are going to get, have some fun with this. And then when I saw every wrestling news site report on it, and then people are asking around backstage and saying, oh, no, this Booker's lying. This never this is a joke, guys. We play, we kid. Booker and CM Punk have a very interesting relationship that dates back to before CM Punk was even in the WWE. CM Punk wrestled at Reality of Wrestling before he was even on ECW television. Like, they go way back. They hosted backstage together. Yes, at times, more so, I think, than Booker, have been critical of some of the things that CM Punk has done or said and how he's conducted himself as a businessman and as a professional. But all that is just, we do a topical radio show about what's going on, same like you, in the world of professional wrestling. But sometimes jokes are jokes. The segment before that, we were talking about bull riding. You know what I mean? And the ridiculousness of rodeo clowns. Like, people, I understand. I understand that Booker commands a lot of respect for what he's done in the industry. And I understand that he is a legitimate tough guy. And I understand that, he has a reputation of sometimes saying what's on his mind. And there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes he's just playing. And I'll let him tell the story if he wants to. But I will tell you, knowing what happened, it was so blown out of proportion. And a run-in, an encounter, a disagreement, a kerfuffle, all of those are not apt descriptions of what occurred. And there's nothing that occurred. I will say that. It's nothing. But it was, he didn't want to go into it on the air. He wanted to tell a funny anecdote to me privately, and then it blew up. A 22-second clip out of a 2-hour show. I'm sure you've experienced this before.
Yes.
Taken out of context. Per the usual by the internet. And what made me laugh even more is he said in the clip, I know the internet's probably going to pick this up and run with it, but I don't want them to do that. I mean, he even called it out, and then it happened anyway.
It's amazing how that goes. So he hit him with a Twinkie is what he did.
Yes. I mean, look, so I went to the same junior high as Walter Cronkite. We went to the same junior high. And obviously, he's probably a big alumnus for us. So there's a lot of talk of Cronkite. But when did we get to single source stories? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's what the wrestling media does. They're single source stories. And sometimes, they call around and try to get more information, but 99% of them just run with a headline to try to get some clickbait and try to make something happen. From all accounts that I have heard, and this is not from Booker, this is from, I have many friends over in that company that I keep up with. CM Punk has been nothing but gracious and great since his return to the WWE. The CM Punk that we saw in AEW, or at least heard about in AEW, seems to not be the same person who walked through the doors at the NXT Performance Center or backstage at the Allstate Arena at Survivor Series in November. He seems to be a changed individual. And or just maybe happier, or whatever the case might be. I'm glad that he's back in the WWE. And again, much to do about absolutely nothing. Work, the saying, they worked themselves into a shoot, brother.
They did. Well, congratulations. Good work.
Well,
Nice.
But the thing is, here's the thing. This is what's so funny, and I'm sure you experienced this too. That was not meant to generate headlines. It was not meant to be a big deal. It was meant as a, hey, you know what? Hey, I'm gonna tell you something later, Brad. It's pretty funny, and that was all it was supposed to be. It wasn't even like anything. Here's the thing about Booker and I. We actually, and some people might pick up on this from our show, to use a wrestling term, we call a lot of it in the ring, right? We might have one phone call earlier in the day. You see anything you want to talk about? Didn't really see much. All right, we'll just figure it out when we get out there, because we've had a rapport for a decade plus. We can do that, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't even tell him I was going to bring up CM Punk. He didn't tell me to bring up CM Punk. I just saw a headline. Oh, CM Punk was at the tapings. Let me ask Booker, if he talked to him or what CM Punk was doing there. And then next thing you know, it's everywhere. It's kind of funny. Same thing happened with Corey Graves. When I try to make things go viral, those
it never
don't.
works. It never works.
No.
It's amazing. Yeah, I've had throwaways like that blow up too. But yeah, well, good for you, Brad.
It got some press, which is fine, which is cool. You know, I just want the people to know that the show, and we are live just like you are, and things come up live. We don't edit, we don't cut stuff out. You know, we just do it as it's done. And a lot of the time stuff happens in the moment that we're not expecting. You know, like the tragic passing of Bray Wyatt happened live when we were on the air, and I had to deliver that news to book. I mean, these are things that you don't expect to happen. And you know, you run with them, and this was not anything I expected. I mean, millions of views this thing got online, which, you know, is great because I was looking good that day. But also it was much to do about nothing.
Oh, Brad Gilmore, everybody, from Reality of Wrestling and the Hall of Fame podcast, working with Booker T there, and looking very Irish today, by the way.
I'm in my green. This is a vintage Johnny Carson blazer, Johnny Carson collection blazer.
Nice.
This is my Irish shirt, and I have a Gilmore Media hat on that is not green, but I'll get one out to you.
Really? Wow, I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get one to you.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
we'll pop one on. Yeah,
There you
I got to get a little better lighting in this studio here. I'm gonna have to see if I can get Odyssey to spring out a little bit.
Odyssey, y'all got the money. Come on now.
Yeah,
put some lights on them.
Yeah, we just we just fixed some situations with the Odyssey gang. So
okay, good.
Give them some time. Give them some time there. Well, some other. I mean, there's obviously a ton of stuff going on, but yeah, we can get into it a little bit. You know, well, I'm going to save The Rock for the next segment.
Okay,
because that's a long discussion. How satisfied are you with the road to WrestleMania at this point? Before we dig into the things that Dwayne is doing, what are you feeling about how things are happening with the card for WrestleMania right now?
You know, every year, you know what this card reminds me of on paper. You know, because I know a lot of people don't like WrestleMania 32 in general, the one in Dallas, the 101,000 people. But I remember the build to that card when Seth Rollins goes down with injury, Cena's down with injury, this guy's down with injury, and you're like, man, how's this card going to come together? You know, what's going to happen? And when Punk went out with the injury, I was like, damn, man, that sucks. You know, and then you think, oh, it's going to be Rock and Roman in the main event. I started to get excited, and then obviously what happens. But what I'm saying is I never know what to expect from the road to WrestleMania, and somehow I always end up satisfied with the card that we have. And this card so far on paper, I see all killer, no filler. Like, what's one match that's on this card that you don't think is going to be awesome, that you can't find it? They're all great, from the top titles to the women's titles to the U.S. title and the IC title. I mean, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul is a match I never thought that I would see. I never asked to see, but now that it's being given to me, I'm so excited to see because I know the level of performer those three guys are. Logan Paul, by every account, is way better than he has any right to be. Randy Orton has looked better with this 18-month layoff, and Kevin Owens has never lost a step. And when you look at Kevin Owens' WrestleMania career and you look at the matches that he's had a Hall of Fame WrestleMania career. Just Mania alone. Just go back and look at it. He's faced every top name in the business, going from Shane McMahon to Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan they faced. He faced Sammy in a one-on-one. He faced Chris Jericho, Stone Cold Steve Austin, main evented last year with the Usos and Sammy. And now, you know, he's going up against Logan Paul and Randy Orton. Randy Orton is surefire Hall of Famer. So, yeah, the road to the throne is long, as they say, but the road to WrestleMania is looking great. I love the card so far.
Yeah, it was funny because I was actually thinking, well, you know, it's the rest of the card's kind of getting eclipsed a little bit by everything that's happened with the four R's. And then I thought, well, you know, let me go back and look at one that had a massive main event and see what the rest of the card looked like. So just for fun, I looked at WrestleMania 3.
Okay,
with Hoke and Andre. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, you know, there was some other good stuff on that card. And then I looked and I was like, it was Savage and Steamboat, and the rest was some good names, but it was like, oh dear God, this was terrible.
Well,
I was like, Harley Race and Junkyard Dog was on there, and then I was like, You know,
Well,
this
to
was,
me,
this was built around Hogan and Andre, and that was no.
I agree. And the thing is, WrestleMania in the last maybe 10 years or so has become to where every match needs to be, oh my God, I can't believe this is going to be on the WrestleMania card. I'm so excited. Whereas before, when I was even a kid growing up, it's like you had matches, like, and no disrespect to them because I love both these guys, but it's like you had the hardcore title between Maven and Goldust. And it's like, okay, cool. And it ended up being a good match, but it wasn't like, I can't believe we're getting the dream hardcore title match we've always wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we wanted to be entertained. WrestleMania was always an entertainment show. And I think that they've actually it's still obviously a spectacle and insane. If you've never been to a WrestleMania, I strongly urge you to try to get to one because it is such a sensory overload.
It is.
But now it's less like you don't have as many Liberace, Snoop Dogg, and Kim Kardashian moments as you used to have, right? Now, if a celebrity's involved, it's like, oh, you got to wrestle. It's Johnny Knoxville. It's Bad Bunny. It's Logan Paul. It's not, what it used to be. And I kind of like when WrestleMania didn't have to have 20 killer matches over 2 nights and we could have a little fun. Like, to me, WrestleMania 38, that first night, I think, is when they had Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. And I had as much fun with that match as I did with maybe anything else on the card. Obviously Austin and KO was amazing. But that's what I look forward to. I look forward to the over-the-topness of WrestleMania. So you're right. Go look at the WrestleMania 2000 card. You had the Triangle Ladder match. You had the main event, which was the Fatal 4-Way. And then what else do you remember from that show? There's a bunch of tag matches, hardcore battle royal, like a cat fight, I think was on the card. Like, come on now.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to, and, there's still a lot more to come on this WrestleMania, too. It is going to be one spectacular evening in Philadelphia, to say the least. But we'll see if The Rock doesn't commandeer the rest of the road to WrestleMania. And we are going to talk about that when we come back here on the Mark Hoke Show on KDAWN with our very special guest. He's super special. He's awesome. Brad Gilmore from Reality of Wrestling and the Hall of Fame podcast. So stick around, everybody. We've got a whole lot more here in our second hour on KDAWN. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back.
In Nevada, anything that goes into the storm drain goes directly to our local waterways, which can pollute Nevada's lakes and rivers. Nevada is the driest state in the nation, and we must work together to preserve our limited water resources for future generations of Nevadans. Here's some waterway wisdom so you can help do your part. Scoop your dog's poop, bag it, and discard it. Clean up yard waste and grass clippings. Wash your car at a car wash or on grass or gravel. Apply pesticides and fertilizers sparingly in your yard. Safely dispose of household chemicals. Clean up leaks and spills. And don't litter. Secure trash in bins. Keep contaminants out of our storm drains. Use waterway wisdom. And remember, only rain should go into the storm drain. Join us in preserving Nevada's waters for future generations by visiting loveenvywaters.com and following us on social media.
This message funded by a grant through the Nevada Department of Transportation, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
On average, 26.8 million Americans become infected with the flu every year. There's been a steady increase in the flu-related hospitalizations over the last 6 weeks in Nevada, and we encourage you to get your flu shot now. It's not too late. It's also not too late to get the latest COVID-19 and RSV vaccines. Contact your healthcare provider to learn more or visit immunizenevada.org. This message, sponsored by Immunize Nevada, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
My son stopped talking to me. He didn't want to leave his room.
I didn't feel like talking to anyone. I just wanted to be alone.
I was really worried about my daughter. She was angry all the time.
I felt so depressed.
I was really worried about my daughter.
I couldn't do anything right. I was always getting yelled at.
My son told me he wanted to hurt himself. I was so scared.
I was feeling hopeless. It was all too much.
We needed help.
We needed help.
We needed help.
We needed help.
I needed help.
I called the mobile crisis response team, and we met with them that same day.
A crisis team came to my house and helped me talk to my parents about how I was feeling.
I called the mobile crisis response team. They met with us that day.
I talked to them about how I was feeling, and It really helped.
Sometimes understanding what children are experiencing can be difficult. The Nevada Children's Mobile Crisis Response Team provides mental health intervention and support. Learn more at nocrisis.com.
This message sponsored by the FBI Las Vegas Citizens Academy Alumni Association, a nonprofit organization separate and apart from the FBI in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association.
Unsafe sleep conditions cause serious injury and even death to infants. Never sleep with your baby on a sofa, in a chair, or in an adult bed. Protect the baby you love from becoming a tragic statistic. The only safe place for your baby to sleep is alone, on its back, in a crib, and in your room. For more information, visit cribsforkids.org. That's cribsforkids.org. This message is sponsored by the Division of Public and Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
1015 FM KDAWN.
This is the Mark Hoke Show.
The Mark Hoke Show.
Here again, your host, Mark Hoke.
Hey, let's get back to it here on the Mark Hoke Show, the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment on KDAWN 1015 FM, the Talk of Las Vegas. Top-rated live show on this station because, well, simply put, I'm awesome. I'm just going to say it.
I agree.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Brad.
Yes, sir.
You're talking to me better than my daughter does.
How old's your daughter?
15.
Makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Of course, we've got Brad Gilmore on from Reality of Wrestling. Of course, one of the, if not the top independent promotion in the country. And you can check them out at realityofwrestling.com. You know, if you're down in the Houston area, go down to Texas City, Texas, and check out a card. Or, of course, you can become a member of their YouTube channel for only $4.99. It's Reality of Wrestling. And, you know, of course, you can become a wrestler down there, too. They are cranking out some of the best talent in the country. Of course, Brian Keith, one of their recent graduates who just signed on with AEW. And of course, I'm sure you've seen Brian doing his thing. So anything with Reality Wrestling, you can laugh, you can cry, you can become a part, as they like to say in the movies, right?
Yeah, and you know what's so crazy is we moved into a new arena back in maybe October or September. And since then, it's the Walker, Texas Lawyer Arena. And I will tell you, this facility, when anybody stops in and sees it, they're always blown away by it because it is not like any independent promotion or wrestling school that you've ever seen. It's not. I mean, we have it professionally lit. We have, room for 500 people. We just had our largest crowd, and this is meant to be television wrestling, right? Like studio style. So, you've been to television studios. They're not the most spacious places in the world. We had north of 500 people here at our last stand Rumble, standing room only at the Walker, Texas Lawyer Arena. We sold out 3 weeks in advance of the show. And our next show is on April the 13th with a special guest match between the King of the Indies, Matt Cardona, and Kenny King, who's a Las Vegas resident.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be in an exhibition match at Reality of Wrestling. And I checked yesterday, we had like 3 tickets left to the show. We're about a month out. So we're doing really well down in Texas City, Texas as of late. And I'm very impressed by what we're doing. And here's the thing too, is if you come to a Reality Wrestling show, you got to see us in Las Vegas, kind of in a different production setup for us. But if you come to a Reality Wrestling show at the Walker, Texas Lawyer Arena, you're going to be overwhelmed and you're going to be impressed by the quality that we put out, because Booker, myself, Kevin Bernhardt, our director, Charmel, and so many people put so much time into this. And all of our wrestlers, our entire camera crew, we're training everybody. Everybody's learning. It's not just we're training wrestlers. No, commentary is being trained. Backstage interviewers are being trained. How to do an on-camera is being trained. The lighting guys, the camera guys, the audio, when to cue things. There's so much that goes into a Reality Wrestling show, to where when you walk in, maybe another show, a different indie show, you walk in and the card, starts at 7 and you're just kind of BSing until 6:30, and then you get your gear on and you maybe go over your match a little bit. This is like, as soon as you get there at call time, hey, here's your pre-tape. This is what time we need you. This is what time your meeting is with Booker. This is your match time. This is where you are in the card. This is what we need out of you. Here's the story. This is where you are today. This is where we want to go next month. This is where we're going 3 months down the line. So you have an idea of how to put a match together. It's really unlike anything on the independent circuit, which is why we almost don't even consider ourselves an independent. We're like the AAA of professional wrestling. You come through us, you get your finishing touches before you get called to the show.
Very nice. Very, very nice, Brad.
That was a good infomercial. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. I think I just sold it real well.
I think you did. You just take that video clip and, put it up on the website, man. You're done.
That's right. I'm finished.
That's for sure. Well, hopefully Matt Cardona is still going to be available after he just got flambéed this last night, by the way.
I saw that. Matt, come on, man. We got to get you down to row. I can't have you scarred up. I can't have you charred up. All right, come on now.
He was put through a flaming table last night at Pro Wrestling Revolver, if you didn't see it. So
by Paul Walter Hauser and Bully Ray.
Yeah.
Dudley. So there you go.
Yeah, not good. So you might want to check around if you want to see that clip. So I want to talk about The Rock.
Got to.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
The Rock cut another 20-minute promo on SmackDown last night. There is no denying that this man is one of the most talented performers, celebrities on the planet right now. No doubt about it. Is The Rock overshadowing this, though, a little bit? Is he taking too much time? Is he kind of putting Roman Reigns in the background a little bit? Is he making Cody kind of look like a wuss a little bit too much? I'm torn on this because, I love what the guy does. There's no denying that he did his job. But at the same time, there's some people that are saying, he's taking too much time. He's, it's cutting into, other matches. He was using profanity. Why aren't, we can't do that. How are you feeling about some of this stuff from the side of the performers and everybody else at WWE that are kind of like, hey, we're here too?
I think that if anybody who's backstage and maybe who's going to be featured on this WrestleMania card and is worried about the attention that The Rock is soaking up and maybe from them, I don't think they understand the big picture. Because The Rock, as you said, might be the most entertaining person in the history of professional wrestling on the microphone. He's up there, and if you don't think he's number one, he is Mount Rushmore. I don't think there's any denying that. You can go Flair, you can go Dusty, but Rock's name's got to be mentioned as one of the greatest guys on the microphone of all time. Now, I also think heel Rock, that we're getting Hollywood Rock, has been the best thing that he's done for this company in the last, since his last run with Cena for the title, right? In my opinion. Everybody is going to be watching WrestleMania this year who would normally watch WrestleMania. So many more people are going to watch WrestleMania because they want to see The Rock wrestle. He's a draw. We say in wrestling, thanks for the house. You see these sellouts? Do you see, the numbers on television? Do you see the social media numbers? They're through the roof, right? Now, is that all due to The Rock? Yeah. Yeah, it is. The sellouts are due to The Rock and WWE has been on fire. Everybody on this WrestleMania card deserves to be there. I'm not trying to take anything away from them. But what I'm saying is he is raising the visibility of this show. There's no doubt about it. He is raising the visibility of this show so that when that time does come on night one, where he's going to be in that main event tag match, and he's going to be on night two. Something's happening where he's going to be on night two. So when this happens, so many more people who wouldn't already be watching are going to be watching, which means more eyeballs are on people for the very first time. So how many more shirts can Rhea Ripley sell? How many more social media followers can the Usos get, for instance? How many people are going to be watching that, Gunther versus Sami Zayn match that particularly might not have just tuned in at all? I understand the complaints, if there are any, but I would like to think that it is a vocal minority. And I get what you're saying too. But The Rock is a special talent. He's one of the biggest draws in the history of pro wrestling, and we don't have him forever, right? This is most likely going to be his last run, if not second to last. He's going to be filming a movie right after WrestleMania wraps. He's going right into production, So I think that we should acknowledge what he's actually doing and something that, by the way, he does not have to do. Does he have to come back? No. So why is he back? He's back because he loves the business. And the only part of this, that what you brought up, that I will agree with is that Roman Reigns does feel a little bit afterthoughty.
Yeah.
He does feel a little after. I've had that feeling too, where he doesn't feel as Roman Reignsy as he once did. And I, the wrestling fan in me, we all probably think this is like, okay, is that intentional? Like, they're trying to set up something? And I still can't figure out what this is about. When The Rock puts up this instead of this. And for the radio listeners, he like makes a L with his hand instead of just like the one that the bloodline throws up. Have you thought about this? Have you noticed that?
Yeah. It could
What
be
is
a
that?
loser. It could be a loser.
I think he's gonna like turn it like that and then shoot Roman like with the finger gun and be like, your time's up.
Yeah, it's either that or he's just calling him a loser.
Or he's calling him a loser.
Yeah.
Something's going on, because that's got to be intentional.
Yeah, one of them's turning on the other.
Something has to happen.
One
Well,
of
here's
them's
the
turning
thing.
on the other.
Look, I don't want to book the show, but the main event of night one has to end with Cody and Seth going under. They have to lose that match. You're not going to tease the stipulation of bloodline rules and not give it to us. You're not going to say, and if you don't win, you can never, face for the title again, and not throw every obstacle in his way. So they got to win on night one. So my thing is, what happens night two? Where does The Rock come into play in night two when it's bloodline rules? Does he start doing something and then Roman shoves him off? And then, I don't know, something's going to happen, but they got to lose on night one, Cody and Seth.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's how that's going to go. And I have a feeling, what I'm wondering is, do they, Roman and Rock, win night one and they cost Seth the world championship with a cash in from Damian Priest, that they beat him up that bad?
I like that. So you think, wait a minute. Are you saying that on night one, Seth loses the title at the end of the night?
Mm-hmm. I am.
Wow. I have not even considered that. That's kind of good. That's fun. So then you would think night two, the world title match would be Drew and... Do you think they do the world title match on night two? Or do they do it on night... They can't do it on night one. He can't wrestle in the same night, can he? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to structure that.
No, they either Seth's out or they make it a triple threat.
Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Well,
because The Rock said he's going to cost him the title.
He did.
He said it a couple of times. So somehow Rock is going to cost him the title. So I have a feeling that there's going to be a cash in.
Cash in's a good way to do it. Beat the hell out of them and then cash in.
Mm-hmm. So you just have a massive, chaotic night at the end of night one, where not only do they win, but Seth loses the title at the same time.
And you know what? I will tell you, man, Damian Priest, I would like him as a world champion.
I would
That
too.
guy's put in the best run of his career in the last year. Best run he's ever had.
And I always liked the guy, even when he was in Ring of Honor as Punishment Martinez. There was something really special about the guy. And when he was doing the whole babyface run here in WWE, I was like, why are you guys making him a babyface and having him do babyface moves? It wasn't working. And then when they made him a bad guy, I'm like, thank you. Thank God.
But they made him a bad guy. They made him a bad guy, but it still wasn't clicking until the alignment with Edge. And then the Judgment Day, when they kicked Edge out of the group, I thought, oh, well, this is the end. This is about to be the mid-card group of the century. Like, they have no star power at the level of Edge anymore, right? And boy, was I wrong. I was so wrong. Him and Finn and Rhea and Dom, and now JD's getting a little rub from it, but they've all had the best runs of their careers. Each one of them. I mean, Finn's never been more important. Even I'm putting this over when he won the title for a day or whatever it was. Rhea's a bona fide megastar, and I think one of a couple of women who can claim that in all of professional wrestling. And then Dominic, biggest heel in the world.
Yep.
I mean, who gets a bigger reaction than Dominic? He's got the best gimmick ever, because the people want to boo him just because they want to boo him loud because that's what you do. So, Damian Priest to go back to it as a world champion, I would love to see him have a world champion run.
Yeah, and make it a serious run too. I mean, and and then you got Drew, of course, who's been just on an absolute roll.
Best work of his career too.
Oh, just unbelievable.
I will say with Drew, it's the best character he's ever portrayed.
Yeah.
Because Drew's always been good in the ring, especially when he came back and did the Rumble win in 2020 and all that. But as far as a character goes, this is the most interesting he's ever been. Like by far. Most entertaining and interesting.
Oh my God, I just thought of something too. Could you imagine if CM Punk would cross if that match, let's just say that match happens. Let's just say that Drew ends up wrestling Priest and CM Punk costs Drew McIntyre the championship.
That'd be good. That'd be good, man. Because
somebody
I don't know what his physical ability is right now, but he's got to be involved in the show somehow.
He could hit him with something, couldn't he? He's got a good arm.
He's got one. You got one at least right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or or it's the old pull the foot, you know what I mean, or something, something simple. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see. That's why, yes, I am excited for WrestleMania. How can you not be?
Right.
This is gonna be the biggest. Are you gonna be there? Are you going?
Unfortunately, I'm not.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I'll enjoy it for the both of us.
Yeah, they had a limited amount of press credentials.
Yeah.
Very limited. So, yeah.
Well, and you know why? Because The Rock's on the card.
Yeah. Thanks, Rock. Never mind. More grudge match for me and Dwayne. Yeah.
Wait, are you not a Rock fan?
No, I am a Rock fan. No, I just kind of had a problem at the beginning with how all this happened in the first place. I just think the way he kind of slid into this and got into the story, I felt like he kind of tried to interrupt it. And it's kind of hard to explain like right off the top of my head because I've gone through this story about 18 times. But I just felt like, he stuck his nose in and said, hey, you know what, we're just gonna do me and Roman, when everybody wanted Cody and Roman, and we were planning for this for 2 years, and then all of a sudden it was, hey, we're gonna do this instead, out of the blue. And to their credit, they changed course after they realized this isn't what the people wanted. And and then they had that promo where he did the thing where, well, Cody didn't deserve it, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And I hated that promo. That was the one promo of all this that I was sitting there saying to myself, this doesn't fit. The rest of it was okay. I think that they did a nice job rewriting everything. But that one, when they did that, I said, no, what did Cody lost like 2 matches all year, and one was a tag match. So what are you talking about? So I just felt like it was a really weird way to go about doing things after you've been building a story for 2 years, that The Rock shows up, gets his contract with TKO, and all of a sudden everything gets blown to shreds. So
no, I get it. I mean, I guess though, if you're The Rock, it's just one of those timing things, right? Like if you're The Rock and everyone's been telling you for 4 or 5 years, the only match we want to see is Rock versus Roman. And then you're like, okay, let's do it. Like, I'm ready. Let's freaking do it. WrestleMania 40, biggest main event of all time. But there's this Cody Rhodes story that went unfinished. Like the thing is, if they would have taken the title off of I just wonder if they took the title off of Roman at 39, would the interest for Roman Rock still be there? Was the interest with him as the champion? And then I don't know. There's so many things you could play what if all over, but I love that The Rock is here because I'm just such a big fan of The Rock. He's on my Mount Rushmore. And growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s, when there was no one bigger than Dwayne Johnson for me, it's fun to see. And that I think I may have told this story. I told the story on the show where I met The Rock last year. Did I tell that story?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so to meet the man and shake his hand, and for him to be so gracious, it's great to see him back in pro wrestling, man. I've always wanted to see him wrestle live, and so I'm going to get that opportunity. And who would have thought in 3 years' time I would have seen Stone Cold and The Rock wrestle at WrestleMania? This is insane.
That is pretty ridiculous. Well, I'm still Mandy beat Hogan at 18, so I'm holding it against him. But we have to take a break, Brad. You know how that is. But when we come back, we've got a little bit more time with Brad Gilmore here from Reality of Wrestling. And I know he's got a ton of stuff going on, and we got a couple more things to fire at him before we let him out of here. So stick around, everybody, here on the Mark Hoke Show on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. We're having a great time with the best in pro wrestling news and entertainment. We will be right back.
If you live in Clark County, you are at risk of developing non-smoking lung cancer. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that gets into homes and increases one's risk of lung cancer, and it exists here in Clark County. Radon is colorless and odorless, so the only way you know if your radon level is elevated in your home or office is by testing. To get your free test kit, visit our website with a new interactive map to find a pickup location nearest you at www.extension.unr.edu/radon. 21,000 people die of lung cancer each year, and Nevadans are at a higher risk. If an elevated level of radon is found, there are ways to reduce it and lower the risk of getting lung cancer. Get your free test kit today. Visit our website with a new interactive map to find a pickup location nearest you at www.extension.unr.edu/radon. Sponsored by the University of Nevada, Reno Extension's Radon Education Program, and aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey Nevadans, prescriptions can be expensive. Let the Array RX discount card be your solution. Now available to all Nevada residents. Simply sign up for free. Show your pharmacist your digital card and save money. Receive discounts of up to 80% on certain medications. There are no age or income restrictions, and it only takes a minute to enroll, so you can get back to doing what makes you happy.
This message funded by a grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
The FBI is engaged in a nationwide effort to build public awareness of hate crimes and encourage reporting to law enforcement. Hate crimes include crimes committed on the basis of the victim's perceived or actual race, color, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, or disability. Hate crimes are not only an attack on the victim, they are meant to threaten and intimidate an entire community. If you believe you are a victim or a witness of a hate crime, we encourage you to report it to the FBI by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip at tips.fbi.gov. You may remain anonymous. Again, report suspected hate crimes by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI or submit a tip at tips.fbi.gov. The FBI works to protect all victims of crimes, regardless of their country of national origin or immigration status. The FBI encourages victims and witnesses of any hate-related incident to report it to law enforcement. This message sponsored by the FBI Las Vegas Division, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
It's not too late to protect yourself and your family from the flu. According to the latest report from the CDC, Clark County has witnessed over 244 influenza-related hospitalizations and 9 flu-related deaths. Meanwhile, Washoe County is seeing an average of 30 new cases reported per day. Be safe. Get your flu shot today. Contact your healthcare provider to learn more or visit immunizenevada.org. This message sponsored by Immunize Nevada, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ready for your next vacation? Not so fast. Before you hit the road, remember these healthy habits to keep yourself and others safe and sanitary. Wash your hands after using the restroom, before eating and after blowing your nose. Sanitize airplane seats and tray tables. Sneeze or cough into a tissue or your elbow. And avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth with unwashed hands. Lastly, make sure you're up to date on all your routine vaccines, including the COVID-19 vaccine. It's also important to get tested when necessary, such as if you develop COVID-19 symptoms before, during, or after travel. If you'll be traveling to visit someone who is at a higher risk of getting very sick from COVID-19, or if you're in a situation with a greater risk of exposure during travel. Pack these tips on your next adventure. And remember, travel safely, Nevadans. This message is sponsored by a CDC grant through the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
101.5 FM KDAWN.
You're listening to the #1 professional wrestling radio show in Vegas, The Mark Hoke Show. The Mark Hoke Show. Now, here again is Mark Hoke.
All right, all you kids out there, we got the final segment of the Mark Hoke Show coming up to you on KDAWN 101.5 FM, the talk of Las Vegas. And I got to give a shout out to the best photographer in pro wrestling, Scoop's out there listening to us on the chat box. I want to say hi to Scoop. Brad, you guys, I don't know if you've ever had Scoop down doing one of your events in Texas, but you should hire him. He is simply the best. Period.
Simply the best.
He is. Well, getting a little singing in.
What a great song.
Yeah, pretty good. Tina Turner. She's the
love
one
her.
she's the one that sang that, by the way.
Tina Turner did sing that song. Yes.
Yeah, not you.
No, I
got you. Anyway, yeah, but hey, by the way, you have a band, right?
Yes, I do. You know what? I do. It's called the name of the band is 2011, the 2 words. And I wanted to bring it up on the show because we've been together since 2006 maybe. But we took a long hiatus, and this last September we put out our first album in a decade. And here's what this is why I think the wrestling people will like it, and I'll tell you why. Because wrestling has always informed every aspect of my life, even in music. I mean, even back in the day, we had a song called "Lost My Smile," and it came from the Shawn Michaels promo, right? Like I've always had influences of pro wrestling in the music. And we were putting this album together, and it's called Happiness, Etc. And that's the name of the album. And we were trying to think about, like, how can we make this concept and all the songs go together? And then we're like, maybe we should have somebody narrate the album. And then we're like, well, who can narrate the album? And I was like, who is somebody I know who's been through the life stages, who's been in the lowest you can go and the highest you can go and everywhere in between, who would bring that gravitas to the project? And there was one name that came to mind, my broadcast partner there, Booker T. And I called Booker and I said, hey, Book, we're doing this album. Would you narrate the album? And he said, yes. So you can go hear that right now. It's called Happiness, Sadness, Etc. by 2011 with Booker T is on several of the songs narrating the album and the story and the narrative of the album. So I just want to shout out. And there's something on there for everybody. It's hip hop, it's R&B, it's a little rock influence. There's some country ballad vibes. There's even spoken word poetry on the album. Like, it's all over the place. And I just think if you give it a listen, you'll find a record that you like.
Very cool. Well,
yeah,
I'll have to check that out. Send me a link.
Because that's how I got into pro wrestling. I got into pro wrestling from music. I mean, I was this huge hip hop head that was hosting a radio show in Houston about hip hop. And then, I saw a tweet one day that said, looking for an announcer for my wrestling company, send in your resume. And because I had a little radio background, they gave me a shot at Reality of Wrestling, and the rest is history.
Well, that is awesome. Very good story, Brad. Nice
Hey,
job.
man. So yeah, definitely check that out.
I definitely will. Everybody out there, make sure you check it out. 2011, you said, correct?
2011, Happiness, Sadness, Etc. is the name of the album.
Very nice. Well, you've also got you got the collection with Brad Gilmore podcast too, right?
Yeah, man. I really want people to check this out because, again, you and I, Mark, know each other through wrestling, and a lot of people know me through wrestling, but my interests are so varied. I mean, I've written books about Back to the Future and James Bond. I love, entertainment of all aspects, and I'm willing to have a conversation with anybody. And what I started to get to do when you have a platform like you do or I do, you get sometimes offers of like, hey, do you want this such and such on your radio show? Or do you want such and such on your television segment that I host here in Houston on the CW39? And over the last couple of years, I've done a couple of hundred interviews with names that everybody would know, whether it's Mark Wahlberg, Jimmy Fallon, Jay Leno, Matthew McConaughey, Kelly Ripa, Malcolm McDowell, Hilary Swank recently was on the show, and Dr. Phil, Bill Maher, even Eric Roberts, Cedric the Entertainer, Darren Aronofsky, who directed The Wrestler. I've had all these conversations, and I wanted to put them in one central place to where people could have them because some people collect stamps and what, flags or shot glasses or whatever. People have weird collections, right? My collections are conversations. That's what I collect. And that's what the Collection Podcast is. So you can go on there and find, like I said, I think we're getting close to 300 interviews. I've already done 35 this year. And you'll hear from everybody, and you'll find something that you like. And I'll always find a way to weave pro wrestling into it if I can, or some Back to the Future talk if I can as well.
Very nice. Well, Brad, I want to thank you for coming on the show. And of course, you can find Brad on X at Brad Gilmore, and of course, realitywrestling.com. Just get on over there. And if you haven't seen any reality wrestling shows, that's where to check them out if you're not in the Houston, Texas area. Brad, thank you again. And I will get in touch and get this thing set up when you're coming into Las Vegas, my friend.
Yes, we will do it, Mark. Thanks for having me, and good to see you as always.
Absolutely. Brad Gilmore, everybody. And thank you for everybody for joining us on the Mark Hoke Show. Guys, we will see you next week. Follow us on X at Mark Hoke Show, Facebook, The Mark Hoke Show, YouTube, The Mark Hoke Show. It's pretty simple, kids. The Mark Hoke Show. Just look us up and find us all on our social media platforms and website. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great day, Las Vegas. Be safe out there on St. Patrick's Day. We'll see you next week. Want more of The Mark Hoke Show? Follow us on Twitter at Mark Hoke Show, like us on Facebook at The Mark Hoke Show, and visit markhokeshow.com to keep up with everything happening with the show. And remember to check out all of our archive shows on YouTube at The Mark Hoke Show, and download our podcasts at markhokeshow.podbean.com and all your favorite podcast outlets. So join the Mark Hoke Show family today, and thanks for listening.
Mike DiGregorio at America